especially when this came out today. The State Department has now announced that they're not going to be releasing any emails from the Clinton Foundation for 27 months. And this is because the Department of Justice filed a motion in federal court seeking a 27-month delay in producing correspondence between former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's 4 top aides and officials with the Clinton Foundation and Teneo Holdings, which is, of course, a closely allied PR firm that Bill Clinton helped launch, and Huma Abedin also worked at Teneo Holdings as well. So the Department of Justice is now going to push back the release of any emails between the Clinton Foundation and Hillary at the State Department until, if she gets elected, it'll be 22 months into her presidency. So they're pushing it back. They're totally protecting this candidate that they want to see become the next president. So the American people obviously have a right to see what's going on with the Clinton Foundation and seeing if there was any conflict of interest there. There is currently an FBI public corruption probe underway investigating whether Clinton used her position to benefit or recruit donors to the Clinton Foundation. Of course she did, but obviously these are conflicts of interest made possible by the activities of Hillary Clinton's State Department, where billions of dollars were funneled through, using it as their own little private slush fund. And now this is interesting because the State Department originally estimated that 6,000 emails and other documents were exchanged by the aides and the Clinton Foundation. But a series of errors the department told the court about on Wednesday now means the total has grown to 34,000 plus potentially responsive documents. So they were communicating with officials at the Clinton Foundation and Teneo Holdings about 700 times each month. That is a lot of emails, and this is what the people need to see. This is where the pay-to-play comes in. This is where we find out about her selling all the uranium production in the U.S. to the Russians and making all the bad deals for the American people with the Chinese. You know, it's not just about the fact that she set up her private email server, even though she is a federal employee there who has accountability and needs to have her emails be subject to FOIA requests, you know, as if that wasn't fishy enough. But now even the Washington Post is saying, okay, she's getting a little too hard to continually back. They say Hillary Clinton's email story continues to get harder and harder to believe. Indeed, I'm surprised it's taken them this long to finally admit that their accountability, their journalistic integrity is being questioned by constantly backing her when it's just blatantly. So on Monday night, the AP published a piece noting the release of an additional 165 pages of emails that Hillary sent from her private email address. So these were emails that hadn't been previously released, and they were only made public because of a court order in response to a FOIA request. And the only reason they were able to request this is because they were able to say, okay, well, she doesn't have an official email, but we want HRC, anything that includes Clinton mail. So they had to do a little digging and find this out because the State Department didn't provide it to them. So you'll recall that Hillary Clinton said she turned over everything to the State Department. And that was something she came right out and said, but that was just one lie that has been busted here with this latest release. So initially she said that she set up a private server out of convenience. She didn't want to have to carry all of these devices. It was purely personal. But now these emails show, she says, I've just realized I have no idea how my papers are treated at state. Who manages both my personal and official files? I think we need to get on this ASAP to be sure we know and design the system we want. That sounds a lot more like an active participant in setting up this private email server, not as if she just was listening to what her IT guys told her would be more convenient with everything. So this is a much more active agency than Clinton has previously let on. Like she said in some other emails that weren't released to the state, she wanted to make sure that her personal and work emails never got mixed up. And so it just lets people know that she was far more engaged with how it all should look to the government. And the fact that the Department of Justice is going to back her until after the election is just insane. The American people need to call them out on this.